So today we are going back to back with another video, and this time it's gonna be about Raphaël Lavoie. So Lavoie had really an amazing playoff this year, and anyone that scored 20 goals in the postseason alone is gonna bring a lot of interest on him, and for good reason. His stock really increased late during the year. Before we go any further this time around, I'm gonna put you some of the clip that I captured during the year for Raphaël Lavoie. So it's gonna be a little bit more entertaining than just me talking and rambling around. Okay, so if you watched yesterday's episode, we were saying that the Habs are pretty stacked at center, and they also had quite a few playmaker. And what we were lacking is really a sniper, someone that can score consistently on the power play. So of course Raphaël Lavoie would really fit our needs. Shameless plug here, so if you would like to see some of the good shooter in the draft, I actually made a top 10 best sniper slash shooter a few days ago, and spoiler alert, Raphaël Lavoie is in there. I'm not gonna say where he is, but if you want to take a look at the video, he's in there. Now that we established that he fits our needs, let's compare him to other prospects in the draft that are similar than him. And this, I think, is a big mistake some of the big analysts are doing on the French TV. I don't want to name anybody out, but I think they know pretty well who Raphaël Lavoie is, but I'm not sure if they know well all of the other potential player that could be available around that spot. One player that I think makes a lot of sense to compare Raphaël Lavoie is Arthur Kalia, and he's projected to be somewhat available around that range, and they both are really good scorer and good shot. So I'm gonna put them side by side and try to see which one is better and which one would be a better fit for the Habs. Okay, so here are both of their profile. I put them together and I try to zoom in a little bit so everyone can see. So if we start right away with the age, you can already see that there's a pretty big difference, and Raphaël Lavoie is actually one of the older players for this draft, and I think they have a 9-month difference between the two of them. So it's really quite a big deal here, since 9 months, almost a year difference, and especially at this age, there is 1 year make a big difference between two players. Now if we go look at the height and weight, they're both pretty tall. Lavoie's a little bit taller, of course. And here, I'm not sure Kalia is that heavy at 190. I would think he's a little bit smaller than that, but well, let's just go with that. I think in a few years he's probably gonna be the same, pretty much the same size of Lavoie. So that's what's nice with being younger. He has a little bit more room to grow. Okay, so now let's look at their respective statistic for last year. So we can clearly see here that Kalia is a better, it seems like he's a better scorer than Raphaël Lavoie. He's also getting a fair bit more point, but let's dive a little bit more here and see in their respective team the quality of teammate. So you can see here as well, Kalia is leading his team by a fair margin here, and Lavoie finished the year around 304, tie with Arnaud Durando, one of his line mates during the year. So there's a big difference here, and I think Kalia win this comparison for now. We can push this even further and compare their team's total in goal scoring. So just give me a few seconds here. We're gonna look this up. So as you can see here, Halifax scored 300 goals last year, and Hamilton Bulldog 241. So there's around 60 goal difference. So technically, it should have been easier for Lavoie to produce more points. So another thing to consider. Finally, if you're still not convinced that Arthur Kalia is better, there's a big difference here in the team quality. So if you look in the QMJHL, since there's a big distance in traveling between the team, they play around 8 or 9 times versus the same team in their division. So you can see here the Sea Dogs and the Acadie Batters Titan were really bad. I mean, between the two of them, they got scored 700 goals. So it's actually crazy. And keep in mind, Halifax played around 20 times if you versus both of these teams. So they had their opportunity to pad the stats. Speaking of stats, I know it's a lot of stats, but you know, I love me some stats. So we're gonna go for one last thing that I want to check here. So if we look at Arthur Kalia, just want to see in his career in the OHL how many goals he has. Okay, so in 135 games he actually has 82 goals, which is pretty crazy. So keep those numbers in mind. We're gonna compare them with previous player drafted from the OHL in the first round. Okay, so if we look at last year, we have Andrei Sveshnikov that had 40 goals, which was really good. But if we drop down here, Barrett Hayden, I mean, Kaliev is crushing the goal part here. Same here, and this is over 3 years. Keep that in mind. So he's crushing him. We're still gonna go down. He's crushing him. Basically crushing everybody in the goal department here. Owen Tippett is a little bit closer here, but he's a real good shooter as well. But keep in mind, it's 4 years. All right, enough of the stats. Now let's take a look at the Russian sniper here and try to imagine him in a Habs jersey in this spot. I mean, we tried last year with Kotkaniemi, and he was a little bit shy of shooting. At the end, other team were letting him shoot, and he still was not shooting. And when he was pressured, he struggled a little bit. We tried also with Tatar, but really, we really had no one to replace Galchenyuk or Pacioretty in this spot. So I think if you want to solve this, since we have a lot of good playmaker, a lot of good two-way player, what we are really lacking is maybe a 30-plus goal scorer, and we don't have any currently that's coming up. Usually, I wouldn't necessarily go for needs. I think it's smarter just to pick the best player available. But around pick 15, honestly, there's not a big gap in skill level between pick 10 and 15. So might as well just solve a problem here. And also, Kaliev, there's not many player in the first round that has 40 goal upside like he does. So you swing high, you take a risk here, maybe a big risk, but you get an higher reward than other player. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we might need to chill a little bit here about our expectation with Raphaël Lavoie and see elsewhere if there's something else that we could get. I personally would like to get, if they, for some reason they slip, a guy like Matthew Boldy, Peyton Crabb, Alex Newhook, Philip Tomasino. Those are all names I would pick before taking Raphaël Lavoie. Sorry, I lie. So we're actually gonna look at one last stats here. I think it's the most important of them all. So I actually took all the player from the OHL and the player from the QMGHL, and I sort them for players that are available at the draft, 18 years old and younger. And you could clearly tell here that Kaliev is an absolute monster. He finished the year, this is only, by the way, 5 versus 4. So Kaliev finished the year with 40 points, and the second closest to him was Alex Bocage with 26 points. If you look at the difference between the two, it's huge. Kaliev actually got 18 goals on the power play at 5 versus 4. And Raphaël Lavoie only 6, and this is a major red flag to me. 6 goals with a stacked team that went to the almost win it all. It's not enough. Also, only 2 primary assists. I mean, this is bad. You cannot play on the every power play for all year long and only have 2 primary assists here. It's just bad. It's gonna be the end for this one. So I know I don't have a lot of subscribers, but just please let me know if you like those type of video, or you prefer the montage with the highlight reel. I like to do them both, so I don't mind. I'm just gonna do whatever you like the most.